Cooking with My Knife Guy. Today we're going to teach you how to make an affordable steak called the chuck eye with your favorite guy on a stainless steel fry pan. With the cost of ribeyes and fillets being over 20 bucks a steak, this is a great alternative if you want to eat steak for dinner, wow a guest, turn somebody onto a new steak cut, and they're hard to find, so you have to go to the butcher or the grocery store pretty early because there's only a few of them they have each day. But it's the end of the chuck and the start of the ribeye, or the end of the ribeye, start of the chuck. So as you can see here, we got our steaks. We left them out at room temp for about 30 minutes. Another great little tip, leave your steaks out at room temp for about 30 minutes or so. We have one of my favorite types of seasoning. It's a blackened rub. So if you can get a blackened crust on a steak, whatever steak you're cooking, I promise you, you're gonna love it. And then if you watch some of my previous videos, we really talk crap about that extra virgin olive oil, not to cook with, use it for salads. But what we're gonna use that to kind of get a little bit of that base, so we can get some of that rub to stick nice. And then let's get this pan, getting that thing warmed up. So we're gonna get this on a medium, kind of a medium temperature. So we're using a induction top here, but what you'll find is if you're learning something, for the first time, it's going to take a little bit of practice. So I always say this: practice makes progress, and practice makes the perfect steak. So you can kind of see here, it's going to obviously look a little bit more like black, right, or crusty. That's what we want. We want that nice crust on that steak. You don't need to add any other salt or pepper, just because this does have enough salt and pepper already into it. So we're getting that pan warmed up, and then we're gonna add some butter. We're gonna do 3 minutes on each side, and then we're gonna finish with one of my favorite things called the butter baptism. Butter baptism. And by the way, this is a little messy, so you know, have a couple paper towels ready to go. So, all right. So what you also want to do is get those sides too. Don't forget the sides with your favorite guy. Especially if you're doing like a New York strip too, there's that fat cap. Getting those sides is a really important part of the cooking experience. So just for the sake of me having clean hands, I'm gonna just rinse them off real quick. All right, I'm back. So obviously you can have your steaks pre-done. All right, so you're gonna see this is cooking a little hotter than I would like, so I'm gonna turn it down a little bit. So if your butter or if your oil smokes like that, number one thing is don't panic. It's part of cooking, part of learning, right? So you see how I took that pan off the burner? That's how you let the pan cool down a little bit. So you can kind of see, it's okay if your pan for steaks is a little bit hotter than normal, because we want to create that nice sear, right? We want to create that nice crust. Let me get this out of the way. We're not going to use that extra virgin olive oil again. So we're back on a medium temperature, and we're gonna let that butter kind of get that nice base going, and we're gonna cheers to all the hard-working moms and dads out there. It's okay to have a little nightcap, dinner cap, lunch cap when you're cooking. Nice little bourbon. So the key with cooking a good steak is get that pan nice and hot, but you obviously don't want it hot to the point where it's smoking your house or kitchen, right? Most of the time you will get some smoke because we're cooking steak, we're cooking some crust, some rub, you got some butter going. So if you get some smoke, you know, I would say turn your vent on a medium to a high, just to kind of get that kind of funneling through. So we're gonna kind of put this on here, and you should hear a little bit of that sizzle from the butter kind of sizzling. And I wanna show you my favorite sound. You know what my favorite sound is? Besides a swoosh or a cha-ching, I made a sale, right? That's a joke. Crack of the bat. I love the old crack of the bat. Pop of the glove. You know, shooting off a start of a race. Here's going to be my favorite sound of all. Do you guys know what it is? It's the sound of a steak hitting a stainless steel fry pan. All right, so you can kind of see there, we got that nice crust on there. Hear that? I don't know if you can pick that up. Let me get the mic closer. Hear that? So now here's the key. We're just gonna let this sit for about 3 minutes, okay? See, a lot of times we wanna rush the process, right? you wanna eat. I get it, I'm hungry too, you wanna eat. But what we're trying to do is let that fry pan and the butter and the steak all make a little love, right? Come together right now. So we're not doing anything, we're not panicking, we're not worrying, we're just letting that steak and that butter cook. We're having a nice sip of some bourbon. Maybe you're yelling at your kid, get ready, get dressed, we gotta go, right? Sorry if that was a little loud, pop your eardrums there. Just make sure you're listening. Obviously, what we can do while this is cooking, we can clean too, right? Let's get a new clean cutting board out. So we'll get a new clean cutting board out. So while your steak's cooking, you're not doing a whole lot. Maybe you're watching a little football, watching a show. So you see here, I have some grade A unsalted butter. You can get it at any grocery store, any big name, bulk grocery store. Grade A unsalted butter. God's gift to you, God's gift to me, God's gift to that steak. So what this is doing is creating this nice crust. Don't get me wrong, I love a flat grill top outside. I love a pellet cooker. I'm actually requesting a little old charcoal grill for my birthday this year. I'm going back to the old ways of doing it. But what happens, that takes a while, right? That's a 2-hour process. You know, you gotta set up, you gotta clean, you gotta get your buddies out there cooking with you. We're talking about 15 minutes or less. We're trying to cook, we're trying to eat, we're trying to clean, we're trying to go on and be with our day. So, we're about another minute or so. And what we're gonna do is give you that first flip, right? Yep. So you're gonna kind of see, you got that crust on there because that's that rub. That's good, we want that. And we're gonna put it back over. And then once again, you see that nice crust. You don't have grill marks because we're not cooking on a grill. We're cooking on a stainless steel fry pan. So what you're gonna see is some of that butter is starting to kind of melt and spread out, and also kind of soak into that steak. By the way, you do this with a $20 plus filet, oh, it's gonna even be that much better. You do this with a ribeye, get some of that nice fat marbling, you're gonna love it. But you know, these are $9, $10, $11 steaks for two. Chuck eye with your favorite guy, guys. So what we're gonna do is give it another 3 minutes or so, and then I'm gonna show you my favorite thing. It's called the butter baptism. So you can kind of see that butter starting to soak up there. If you start to see a lot more smoke and you see a lot more, butter melting fast, just turn it down a notch. I think we're cooking pretty good right now. But I always say, I like to teach you. I like to have you be aware of your cooking environment. I mean, there's times where I got my house smoking and cooking because my mind's not there, right? I'm juggling so many things. So if you're single or you're by yourself, enjoy it. Have that wine, have that bourbon. If you're doing this with kids running around and TV in the background, you stepped on a few Legos, just try to be ready, try to be focused, get in the zone, right? So you're gonna see, man, this is gonna be so good. I can't wait to eat this. If you watch my earlier videos or later videos, whenever you're watching this, we talked about steamed veggies. So we're gonna accompany this with some steamed veggies. It's gonna be so delicious. All right, so what's gonna happen next is we're gonna flip it one more time, and then we're gonna add a little bit more butter, and we're gonna do what we call that butter baptism, one of my favorite little trademarks. If you've been watching my videos for a while, you know I love cooking with that butter and that steak. That's God's gift to us, is a little bit of butter. So what's your favorite steak? Comment below. Obviously, I'm a filet guy. I've started to convert to the ribeyes just because of this whole chuck eye experience, where you get a little bit of that fat, and it's delicious. So sometimes it's boring just watching food cook, but hopefully I'm not boring to you. If I'm boring to you, fast forward a few minutes and see the end product here, okay? And that's why you have your little nightcap, your little lunch cap, your dinner cap. By the way, another one of my favorite things is how to clean these fry pans. You're gonna see it's gonna be pretty easy. I'm gonna show you a little trick. All right, so down to another minute. I'm gonna get one of my tools that we're gonna use to actually clean that fry pan with at the end. Another couple things you can do to really spice this up a little bit is, hey, throw a little bourbon in there. Why not? Because who said there's rules? Throw a little garlic in there, right? Throw some thyme in there. Throw some parsley in there, rosemary in there. Okay? By the way, these stainless steel fry pans, you're gonna see crust, you're gonna see char, you're gonna see something that sometimes looks burnt, but that's okay. So once again, we're gonna flip it, and you're gonna see it's still a little pink on the inside, so if you want more medium well, then you go back another 2 minutes on each side. But here's my favorite thing of them all. What's your favorite? Are you a medium? You medium well, medium plus? What are you? Rare? Pittsburgh? You just cut the cow, butcher, and sear it on one side? So what we're gonna do is we're gonna add, by the way, this is about a half a stick of butter, so for all my anti-butter establishment people, no one died from a little extra butter. What we're doing right now is we're creating the baptism, okay? You guys know what the baptism is? It's the best part of them all. This is where you take it up a notch, right? I know some of these might be trademark words, but this is where you take it to a whole nother level. Okay, so, all right, so even the dogs are hungry if you hear any barking in the background. So here's the key when it comes to the butter baptism, okay? We're gonna tilt the pan a little bit. So you see the butter? It's not, smoking, it's not black. It's just getting that nice caramel color. And this is where you really give that steak its final bit of life here on earth, okay? And, oh, it's gonna be so good. It is gonna be so good. So kind of let it sit there. And once again, it depends on what temperature you're going for. If somebody's a medium rare person, take it off and eat it. Take it off and eat it. Let it go. I want it more medium plus. I like it just enough pink, but not mooing. Obviously, you can add those things like the garlic, midway through. You can add the rosemary, the thyme. For the sake of this video, we just went with the whiskey. So cheers. We're just gonna give this another minute or so. Because we got the sears early, the later flips don't do much except just kind of cook it all the way through. You don't want a premature flip, right? So let those first flips get to 3 minutes. The later flips to me are just helping cook it all the way through. If your kids are eating this, they might want it more like a medium. My son's already saying, I want it pink, I want it pink. So he don't like it super well done. So you can kind of see there, that's just that butter. All we're doing is giving that steak that final little bit of life here. And what this butter baptism does, also that butter's nice and warm. It's starting to kind of cook and soak through that steak. Who's getting hungry? Once again, this is just a simple ribeye with your favorite guy. Ribeye with your favorite guy. All right, so kind of wrapping up here. We're just gonna kind of let that sit and rest out. What do you say? Should we serve it up? Should we eat? So with the steak, the number one thing you want to do is you want to let it rest at the end, right? A lot of us, we get so ready that we just want to. And by the way, this is that chuck eye, right? So it ain't no super expensive steak. So this steak right here is $5 a steak almost. So we're gonna let it sit on a nice cutting board. If you can get a cutting board with the juice grooves, that's a nice little feature there. And here, you hear the dogs are excited. Here's my favorite part right here, okay? We're gonna give this one last little baptism in the name of the Father, in the name of the Son, in the name of the Holy Spirit. So now what that's gonna do, it's gonna cook it even more. Yes, it's a little messy, but who cares? It's gonna be delicious. It's all going to the same place. We're gonna turn off our burner there, and here's where it gets awesome. Here's where it gets awesome. How do you clean this pan? If you see your pan like this and you're going, whoa, a war just happened. Well, you just, look at that. That's God's gift to us right there. So we're gonna pour some water on there. If you have a metal spatula really does an amazing job. And if you've seen some of my previous videos talking about having metal tools are one of the best things to have in a kitchen, these are awesome. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna show you another trick, and for the sake of the setup here, we'll do it here on the spot. You get a pump of soap or two on a little scrubber brush, and obviously you would do this over your kitchen sink, but get a nice little scrubber brush. You can get an SOS pad, a little bit of an abrasive, doesn't hurt these pans, and this is how you clean your pans. So while you're waiting for that steak to just kind of rest, you got your nice pan that's gonna be clean, and you can hear my dogs outside. This is what I would pour into their little dry food and really get their tails wagging. Sorry if I'm getting a little sloppy here. So just for the sake of the video presentation. By the way, don't pour hot grease over a jar because it might break. I learned that the hard way. If you watch one of my old videos, little sloppy, but that's okay. I'm just a normal guy having fun. And look at that. Not too hard, right? And obviously if you had your kitchen sink and you had your soap and scrubbers, there you go. So you got your pan clean, you got your nightcap, you got your steak resting, you got your tools. Everybody's ready to eat. Who's ready to eat? Me, 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 me. So let's cut into this. Should we cut into it or? Cut into it. The people want to see it. All right, so get you a nice steak knife, and we're just gonna cut into it. And you can see right there, you got the nice pink. That's right, exactly what I was going for. That medium plus. Pretty cool. Are you able to see that? Zoom in a little bit. So you got your medium. You able to see that? Yum, yum, yum in my tum, tum, tum. Who's gonna be going looking for them chuck eyes? There's gonna be a chuck eye shortage after this video. You eat one of these with that crust on there, there's gonna be a chuck eye shortage. I guarantee it. You better go buy them up. Tell me that don't look delicious. Tell me that don't look delicious. Who's hungry? We're gonna add this to our steamed veggies. You can just see that butter just soaking. Oh my goodness. Look at that. See that butter soaking? That's why you want the cutting board with the grooves. See that? Oh, a little overage. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's eat. Take care. And if your cardiologist calls, tell them you did not watch this video, because we love that butter. Take care, and God bless, and have a nice day, everybody.